One of the most common IELTS speaking topics is your home or where you live. It seems like a pretty easy topic, right? But there are so many different questions that you can be asked in the IELTS speaking test. So, in this video, we're going to look at the most common questions and I'll show you how to answer them with Band 9 level English. So let's get started. So there are 3 different categories of questions. For each category, we're going to look at the questions, we're going to learn some great phrases that you can use in your own answers, and we'll see a full Band 9 answer. And if you find this video useful, make sure to like and subscribe. We also have lots of other videos about common IELTS speaking topics, including your studies, your work, and your hometown. And you can find the links just down here. The first category is inside your home, and they'll ask you the most common basic question, which is, do you live in a house or in an apartment? And that question, you can just give a short answer like, I live in a house or I live in an apartment. Or you could give some details like where the apartment is or who you live with or things like that. That's kind of up to you, but that's the most common question they'll ask you. And we can see the rest of the questions about inside. So what do you most like about your house or apartment? Or which is your favorite room in your house or apartment? Or are there any special features in your house or your apartment? The things that you like, basically. And the things that you don't like. Is there anything you don't like about your house or apartment? What is your least favorite thing in your house or apartment? Or what changes would you like to make to your house or apartment? So it's different ways of asking the question, but really it's just what is not good about your home. And then finally, is there any area in your apartment where you feel very relaxed? So let's learn some phrases that we can use to answer different questions there. So the first one, I'd say the thing I like best about my home is definitely, and then you say a room or a thing. That's where I go when I'm feeling stressed or when I really feel I've earned a nice rest and a bit of relaxation. And we can see a full sentence with that one. The only detail you need to add is the place. So I said, the thing I like best about my home is definitely the sofa. The next sentence, I'm mostly very happy with the apartment because another person and I have designed it just the way we like it. It's taken a lot of elbow grease, that means a lot of effort, over the past number of years. But I feel like you can really notice the attention to detail that's gone into it. And that phrase, attention to detail, is a nice high-level phrase as well. So we can see a full version. I'm mostly very happy with the apartment because my parents and I have designed it just the way we like it. It's taken a lot of elbow grease over the past 5 years, but I feel like you can really notice the attention to detail. And then if we want to say something negative, we could use this phrase. So if I had to choose something that I don't like about my home, it'd have to be the, and then the thing or the area or the problem. I feel like it's kind of a negative aspect and it stresses me out when I think about it, but I just don't have the time or energy to fix it. And if we make a full sentence, we could say, the thing I don't like, it'd have to be the old wallpaper in the living room. So it's some kind of detail that you don't like. And then I feel like it's kind of out of place. So that's the negative aspect. It doesn't match the rest of the house. Old wallpaper, it's out of place. But for this sentence and for all of these sentences, you can add your own details. You can talk about the thing that you don't like in your own home. So let's see how these phrases can make up a full answer. So the question's going to be, what is your least favorite thing in your house or apartment? And our answer, well, I'm mostly very happy with the apartment because my roommates and I have designed it just the way we like. It's taken a lot of elbow grease over the past 2 years, but I feel you can really notice the attention to detail that's gone into it. But if I had to choose something that I don't like about my home, it'd have to be the bathroom. I feel like it's kind of falling apart, and it stresses me out when I think about it, but I just don't have the time or energy to fix it. Now, if you're preparing for the IELTS exam and you want to make sure you get a band 7 or higher in all 4 aspects, reading, writing, speaking, and listening, then make sure you check out our course, IELTS The Complete Guide. It's got everything you need to prepare and to get that really good score, and the link is just here under the video. The next category is outside your home, so sort of the area around your home. So let's see the questions. First of all, can you describe the neighborhood you live in? It's a very open question. What's the view like from your house or apartment? So what can you see when you look out of the window? Are there any parks or recreational areas near your house or apartment? And finally, are there any amenities, or some people say amenities, near your home? So let's see some phrases, and most of these are going to be describing the area in a very high level way. So first of all, well, the neighborhood I live in has got a lot going for it. It's a pretty, and then an adjective, kind of place, and it's very much a, and then you say a type of person, paradise. So let's see a full example. The neighborhood I live in has got a lot going for it. It's a pretty affluent kind of place. That means fairly rich. And it's very much a shopper's paradise. So what does that mean? It means a great place to go shopping. But you can put different types of people as well. For example, you could say a coffee lover's paradise if there are lots of coffee shops around. The next phrase, one of the most noticeable things about my area is how much there is to do. Everything is just a stone's throw away. That means it's very close, including, and then you can make a list of several useful or interesting places. So, everything's just a stone's throw away, including a fancy mall, a supermarket, and even a subway station. And that's a good opportunity for you to drop in some high-level vocabulary at the start of the exam to make sure that the examiner's thinking about you, this person's a band 8 or a band 9 kind of student. The next phrase, there's also a huge type of place just across the street, which is really handy, really useful to have nearby, because anytime you want to do an activity, it's right there on your doorstep. So, the full sentence. There's also a huge park just across the street, which is really handy to have nearby, because anytime you want to go for a run, it's right there on your doorstep. Then we've got a couple of phrases about the bad aspects of your area. So first of all, well, my area is a bit negative adjective, to be honest. So when you look out of the window, you mostly notice how, another negative adjective, everything is. So, full example. Well, my area is a bit run down, to be honest. So it's not very modern, it doesn't look very good. So when you look out of the window, you mostly notice how dilapidated everything is. And run down and dilapidated are basically the same meaning, but again, you're showing your vocabulary by showing I've got 2 words to say the same idea. And another negative one of the issues with where I live is that it's not very well connected. It's a bit of a trek to the nearest place. That means it's quite far. And it's generally a bit of a positive thing, desert. So the positive thing, it means we don't have that. For example, one of the issues with where I live is that it's not very well connected. It's a bit of a trek to the nearest supermarket, and it's just generally a bit of a culinary desert. So culinary is talking about like good food. So what we're saying here is there are no good restaurants or coffee shops or places to eat around where I live. It's a desert. So let's see the full answer then, and we're going to throw some of those phrases in. The question is going to be, are there many amenities near your home? So the answer, on the whole, there are. One of the most noticeable things about my area is how much there is to do. Everything's just a stone's throw away, including a big mall and some great restaurants. There's also a huge library just across the street, which is really handy to have nearby, because anytime you want to go somewhere quiet, it's right there on your doorstep. However, one of the issues with where I live is that it's not very well connected. It's a bit of a trek to the nearest subway station. So it's got its good points and bad points. And you can notice that I used the word however in the middle to change from the good points over to the bad points. Then category 3 is about the past and the future. So we have to be careful with the tense here. First question, how long have you been living there? Or they might say, have you lived there for a long time? And then the future, do you plan to move to a different house or apartment in the future? Or a different question but the same meaning, do you think you'll stay in that house or apartment for a long time? So let's see some great phrases. First of all, I've lived here my whole life, so it's the only home I've ever known. Or we could say, I've lived in this house ever since I was, and then the age and the details. So, for example, I've lived in this house ever since I was a little boy, or ever since I was born, or ever since I was 5 years old. Now, those two phrases are good if you've been in the same place for a long time. But if you've moved recently, let's use this phrase. My family and I moved to our current apartment about number of years ago. Prior to that, that means before that, but nice vocabulary. Prior to that, we lived in, and then details, but we had to move as a result of the reason why. So, my family and I moved to our current apartment about 3 years ago. Prior to that, we lived in a smaller apartment in a different city, but we had to move as a result of my mum's job. So those phrases are about the past. Let's look at some future phrases. So first of all, I don't have any immediate plans to move out, but you never know what the future might hold, so I'm not ruling anything out. So that's a good phrase if you're not planning to move, but if you are planning, let's use this next phrase. Well, I'm actually taking the IELTS exam because I'm planning to, and you say your plan, your reasons why. So, if all goes well, this time next, and then next month or next week or next year, I'll be packing my bags and saying my goodbyes. So, I'm actually taking the IELTS exam because I'm planning to study abroad. So if all goes well, this time next month, I'll be packing my bags and saying my goodbyes. And we can see a full answer as well. So, do you think you'll stay in that apartment for a long time? Is going to be our question. And here, you can see that we've given a little background and then we talk about the future. So it's a mix of past tense and future tense, meaning a good grammar score. So, well, my family and I moved to our current apartment about 2 years ago. Prior to that, we lived in a house in another part of town, but we had to move as a result of the economic downturn. We don't have any immediate plans to move out, but you never know what the future might hold, so I'm not ruling anything out. I'd love to be able to buy back our old house. I've got so many memories of that place. So those are the 3 categories of question about your home or where you live. And my question for you today, I want you to look at that last sentence about your plan for taking the IELTS exam and then doing something. And I want you to tell me down here, if you get your IELTS score, what's your plan? What are you going to do? Are you going to study abroad? Are you going to move abroad, emigrate, maybe change jobs? Tell me your plan. I'm very interested to see. Remember, if you are preparing for the IELTS exam, we've got lots of videos here on this channel, so make sure to like this video and subscribe. And you can also check out our courses. Those are down here under the video. I'm Francis from Last Minute English. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck in your IELTS exam. I'll see you next time.